Hello, dear student. How are you? I'm Miss Shirin, science teacher. Hello, grade 9. Today I'm going to continue chapter 13 with section 3. Previously, we studied about how do you know it's base or acid, which is by indicator we know it is base or acid. So today, the solution of acid and base. For example, you are in the party, and the party there is many of food on the table. Maybe you take dolma, biryani, okay, fizzy drink, all of you in confused. So what happened at the end of your stomach? You get a stomachache. So someone, they give you anti-acid to heal your stomach. So what the anti-acid? Anti-acid, be careful, don't confuse between anti-acid, it's antacid. Okay, antacid is what? It's a weak base. It's a weak base, okay? It's what? It's a weak base that neutralizes strong acid in your stomach. So during this lecture, we're going to explain about strong acid and strong base and weak base and weak acid, okay? So, strength of acid and base. When you hear about strength, does the strength is the same concentration? Of course not, it's different. The strength which is talking about the number of molecules break apart in water. But concentration is explaining about how amount of solution. For example, look at it, let's study in a mind map, strength of acid and base. We have to type acid and base. Does concentration have the same idea of strength? Of course not. Concentration is amount, talking about amount of acid and base dissolved in water. But strength which depend on the number of molecules break apart in water, which is forming an ionic solution, which is electrical conductivity. Okay? That's about concentration. So strength, it does not same as the concentration. So weak acid and strong acid and weak acid. What's the difference between them? Are the same? Yes, they are the same. Both are acid, but it's different, okay? Some of them is strong, some of them it is weak. How do you know it's acid, it is strong, and how do you know it is weak, okay? An acid dissolved in water break apart and produce what? Produce hydrogen ion in positive charge. Strong acid, when dissolved in water and the molecule all break apart, produce what? Hydrogen ion. If the molecule break apart, called strong. If all molecules break apart in water, called strong acid, such as sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and hydrochloric acid. So these names is very important in memorizing, especially for national exam, okay? So if a few molecules of acid break apart, a few, not all, became what? Weak acid. So such as acetic acid, citric acid, acetic acid, okay, carbonic acid, which is present in lemon. This kind is acid, it is safe to drink, okay? So we have a common question in national exam too. A weak acid is an acid that does not dissolve in water, of course not. Break apart completely, of course not. It is what? Weak acid. Only strong acid completely break apart. Break apart partly in water. So the answer is number C, okay, which is the partly break apart in water, okay? So strong acid and weak acid, we have two types, as we know, strong acid and weak base. Strong acid, which is all molecules break apart in water, but weak acid, which is only some part of break apart in water. In both, they produce hydrogen ion, okay? But in strong acid, they form more hydrogen ion, okay? That's why. The examples, which is sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and hydrochloric acid. The weak acid type of weak acid, such as what? lemonic, carbonic acid, and citric acid. Okay? That's about what? Strong and weak acid. Let's go to strong base and weak base. What the difference between them? Strong base or weak base, when a molecule break apart in water, they what? They produce what? Hydroxide ion. When acid break apart in water, they form what? Hydrogen ion. Be careful. Compare between them. But when a base break apart in water, they form what? Hydroxide ion by negative charge. Okay? When a strong base, how do you know a strong base? When, again, it's the same for strong acid. When all molecules break apart in water, it is called strong base, such as calcium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. Okay? So a base be weak base when a partly of molecule dissolve in water. Okay? A partly, not all. Okay? Such as what? Ammonium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide are weak base. Some common question, especially for national exam, which of the following is weak base? Which of the following? Which one? Potassium hydroxide, as I said, the name is very, very important. It should be memorized, look like your name. Okay, dear students? Okay, potassium and calcium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, or ammonia oxide. Which one is correct? Yalla, which one? So its answer is in front of you. Okay, so ammonium hydroxide, it is answer. It's a type of what? Weak base. Strong base produce a large amount of what? It's very important. This is from national exam, okay? Hydrogen ion, they produce hydrogen ion? No. Hydroxide? Hydroxide, yes, of course, hydroxide. Ion, because it is base. Base, when break apart in water, they form hydroxide ion. Clear? Okay. So, again, strong base, for remember, we have two types, strong and weak. The examples, such as what? Sodium hydroxide, potassium, and calcium hydroxide. And weak base, which is all molecules break apart in water. In weak base? No, apart. Clear? So they produce what? Hydroxide ion or hydrogen hydroxide ion, negative charge. Okay, example, ammonium hydroxide and ammonium. Okay, let us go to neutralization. What is neutralization? What do you mean, Michigan, by neutralization? Yes, as I mentioned it at the first lecture, when you add a part, you get many different things. Okay, you take it, biryani, dolma, okay? So at the end, you get stomachache, okay? Someone give you antacid to help your stomach, right? Why give you antacid? An antacid is a weak base, and in your stomach, there is a acid. Which kind of acid? Strong acid or weak acid? Of course, strong acid, which is hyaluronic acid. Okay, it's very, very strong. When you take a weak base, start to neutralize. When acid and base, strong acid and weak base, reacted in your stomach, neutralize it. That's why you feel healed after we take an antacid, okay? So, hyaluronic acid, which is present in your stomach, a strong acid, okay? And you take a weak base, for example, hydroxide sodium, okay? At the end, they form what? They form H2O and salad, remain salad. Clear? That's about neutralization. Clear? Neutralization is a reaction between strong acid and a weak base in your stomach. Okay, start to neutralize it and they form H2O, and salt. Okay? Clear, dear student? Perfect. Let us go to pH scale. This one is very important, okay? Don't confuse between pH scale and the indicator. Have you remember when you talk about the indicator? As we previously, we talked about two types of indicator. One of them, it is the liquid one, which is called bromothymol, and the other one is like a paper, which is name is litmus, okay? So by this indicator, only we know it is acid or base. Clear? But by pH, give the value. We know actually it's acid or base, but we give the value. How? Indicators such as what? Litmus, as I mentioned it before. Yes. Litmus or an indicator, only what they are doing, identify what the solution contains, acid or base. Describe it. By indicator, we describe it's an base or acid. But the pH of solution, what? It's measure or give the value. Okay? It's the measure of the hydronium ion concentration in solution. Clear? Have you seen the difference between? Have you indicated between the pH scale and indicator? Don't confuse it. Clear? pH is what? Measure. But indicator, what? Describe it or identify the solution is acid or base. But pH is the measure, okay? It's a measure of hydronium ion concentration in the solution. Clear? A solution that has pH is 7, that's mean what? Natural. When main solution is neither acid or base. Distilled water is had pH, it is 7. Okay? This one is the, okay, it is the distilled water. The pH, it is 7, which is the normal one. Clear? Base solution, a pH greater than 7. Okay? So acidic solution have pH less than 7. Look at the picture. It will be clear more. Look at here. We have pH value of common materials. Start from 1 till 14. 7, it is what? The 7, it is the natural one. Clear? Yes. How do you know it's acid? How do you know it's acid? The acid is start less than 7, it is acid. Less than 7, it is acid. For example, 6, 7, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it is what? It is what? Acid. Very good. So, greater than 7, the pH describe what? It is what? It's what? Base. Very good. Clear? For example, we have soft drink. That soft drink which take it maybe every day. So be careful. Don't take it every day. It is bad for your health. Okay? Especially for your teeth and bone. Clear? So soft drink, the pH between 4 and 3. That's when it's a weak base. Sorry, weak acid or strong acid. It is weak acid. Okay? And we have, for example, detergents. So very careful when you use detergent at home. The number is between 9 and 10, which means it is between strong and weak acid. Okay, so what about, look at human stomach. Human stomach contain acidic. Which kind of acid? Strong acid is called hydrochloric acid. Clear? So, let's see some common example. What the litmus using? Using for what? Using for identify acid or look at difference between litmus and pH. Litmus is an indicator, which is using for what? Identify acid and base. So what does pH scale measure? Measuring what? Measuring what? Measuring acidity or base and give the value of acidic or base, telling us the number. The number, for example, is 7. pH is 7. pH is 7, that means not right. pH it is 8, that means it is acid. pH it is equal to 10, that's means base. Which of the following is acid? Which of the following is it? This question is very important. Which one? pH is 9 or pH is 5? pH is equal 7, pH 5 or pH 10. Which one is acid? Which one? We said less than 7, it is acid. That means which one? See, and the answer is here. It's in front of you, okay? So which of the following is base? And this is important too, especially for national exam. Which of the following is base? pH 3 or 6, 7 or 8? We said greater than 7, it will be base. Clear? That's all about pH and indicator. Yes, using indicator to determine pH. Clear? So using it to determine pH, as you know, a combination of indicator used out of a base or acidic insulation. This can don't be color indicator, you know, at a different. Okay, so when you do an experiment, we put a litmus into a liquid, give us what? A color. The color, it has a names or it has a numbers, okay? So its color has one number. Insulation found by comparing, okay. Yes, look at here, this is important. The kind of indicator often do you use what? The test. When you test it, what? Water in pool and aquarium. Why they test in pool and aquarium? To save the skin, the human skin, okay? Yes. Look at here. That I think it will be clear. What is it? Is the pH indicator. pH indicator, which is litmus. Look at the color. Each color has one number. The orange and more orange, dark orange, for example, the orange is 7. More orange, okay. For example, we have yellow. The yellow have 11. When we tested the orange juice, look at the colors. Look at the color. Look at the color. Compare. Which one? It is what? 4. That means the pH is 4. Look at this color. It's blue, dark blue. Dark blue, this one. That's means the pH it is 10. Okay, that means by the color we know the number of pH. We have another pH. We have another pH scale, which is called using pH meter. pH meter. pH meter. This pH meter decayed and measure what? Hydronium ion concentration. What? Electrocally. That's different. Yes. Let us go to. Yes. pH and the environment. Why is pH important to know? Does it affect on the environment? Of course. Let's know how. Living things depend on what? Having steady pH in their environment. Having pH to stay pH in the environment, such as we have pine tree. What is that pine tree? Do you like pine tree? It's my favorite tree, okay, because every season it is green. That's why I'm very like this kind of tree, okay? So pine tree refer acid soil is between what? Between 4 and 6. That means it's needed which kind of soil? Acid or base? Of course, acid, which is between what? 6 and 7. What about leads? that we're using on the salad every day. Okay, let's is a base soil that has a pH between 8 and 9. That means it's needed which kind of soil? Acid or base? Of course, it needed a base solution. Clear? Look at it. Plant may also have different trait. How? That's effects on the trait too. Yes, pH is affected on the trait too. For example, we have we have this plant. Okay, it's very nice. Have you at a garden? It's called hydrangea. Hydrangea, when you change the soil, the color of flowers start to change it. How? To grow blue flower, if you want to grow blue flower, change the soil, the pH of soil. The plant hydrangea soil trait has low pH, which means acid. When the soil became acidic soil, give you which kind of flower? Blue flower. Clear? But when you change the soil from acid to base, the color of flower is changing into purple. Clear? Perfect. Wow, you are clever. Okay. Yes. So, most has rain, normally rain, okay, is between 5.5 and 6. Try to memorize the numbers. It's important, especially for national exam, okay? So, what about rain water decrease in pH? Look at here. Why pH is important for living? It's some common and national exam, okay? Why pH is about for what? To what? They need for what state pH to survive. What the type of soil do pine tree have? This is national exam, be careful. This is an example of national exam. I bring from national exam. That's why I said you should memorize the numbers of pH of each plant. It's important. So it's needed from what? The pH soil is between 4 and 6. As I mentioned before, that means it needs which kind of solution? Base solution or acidic solution. It's less than 7, that's mean. Which one? Which one? Yalla. Acidic solution. Excellent, very good. What type of solution? That is which is we put on salad. It's needed which kind? Base is between 8 and 9. Okay. What happened to hydrogen in different soils? What happened? The color is changed. Get it? Perfect. That's all. Okay. Thank you for listening to me, dear student. God blessing for you. Inshallah, next lesson, we're going to continue.